3 months before my wedding, I walked into the barber shop for a simple trim, only to realize the barber was my old friend, the one I used to love. The sign outside the building read, Barber and Menswear Boutique, modern black lettering, stark against the warm, brick facade. I had walked past it a dozen times without realizing what was inside. I pushed the glass door open, expecting the usual pushy salesman vibe. Instead, I stepped into a space that felt nothing like a shop. Warm lighting, navy walls lined with elegant suits, and the low hum of soft jazz. The scent of bergamot and sandalwood drifted in the air. It felt like stepping into a private hidden world. I was getting married in 3 months, and according to everyone around me, that meant I had to look perfect. A man stood near the fitting area, sorting suit samples on a rack, tall, broad shoulders. He wore a white tank top, his arms covered in black tattoos. He turned at the sound of my footsteps. Our eyes met. My stomach dropped. Reed. For a second, I wasn't a grown man preparing for a wedding. I was back in university. 2 guys sitting in the back of lecture halls, secretly checking each other out, but pretending we weren't. He blinked, then his lips pulled into a slow, surprise smile. Troy, no way. He crossed the room in a few strides, pulling me into a quick hug. Firm, warm, familiar. Damn, look at you. I haven't seen you since what? Graduation. 5 years. 5 years since we were part of that group everyone called the cool kids. 5 years since I pushed away the feelings I had for him, buried them deep, convinced I was supposed to be straight, supposed to chase a future that looked successful. And now, here he was. Yeah, I exhaled, trying to sound casual. I'm here to, get a wedding suit. His eyebrows lifted just slightly. Wedding 3 months from now. Congratulations, he said, but his voice was softer than expected. He didn't ask anything more, just turned toward the suits. Let's find something that feels like you. We moved through the boutique, touching fabrics, comparing lapel shapes, laughing at the tiny bodies that looked like something from a middle school dance. Being around him felt too easy, too familiar. I forgot I was supposed to feel nervous about the wedding. He draped a navy suit across my shoulders. Try this one. I slipped into the changing room. As I buttoned the jacket, I stared at myself in the mirror. I looked sharp, expensive, prepared, but I didn't look like someone who was glowing with excitement for marriage. I looked like someone fulfilling a duty. When I stepped out, Reed stood there, holding 2 shoes in his hands. Turn around, he said. I did. He stepped close enough that I felt the warmth of his body behind me. He adjusted the collar, smoothed the jacket along my shoulders. His touch was careful, intentional. I swallowed. You're good at this, I whispered. He grinned. It's still weird sometimes. I studied engineering, not... He gestured at the suits, the barber chairs in the back. This? I laughed. So what happened? You could have been designing bridges or robots. Well, he shrugged, stepping around to face me. After graduation, I got a job in a firm. Good money, stable, expected. You know, the path everyone says we should take. I nodded. I understood that more than I wanted to admit. But every day felt wrong, he continued, sitting behind a screen, living someone else's plan. I'd go to barber shops, just to talk to people, and eventually, the owner let me practice, learned tailoring later. Turns out, his eyes softened. This is the only place where I feel alive. There it was again, that quiet authenticity I always admired about him. Good for you, I said softly, for choosing what makes you happy. He looked at me a beat too long. And you? He asked. Are you happy? My throat tightened, but I forced a smile. Yeah, I'm getting married. I should be. Reed nodded slowly, like he sensed there was more to the sentence. Come on, he said finally. Let's finish the look. You need a haircut to match the suit. Haircut? Before I could answer, he guided me toward the barber side, a raised platform with 2 black leather chairs. the smell of shaving cream and cologne wrapped around us. I took off my navy suit and sat down. He draped a cape over my chest. He leaned down, his breath warm near my ear. "Sit back. I'll take care of you." I shouldn't have shivered, but I did. His fingers brushed my jaw as he adjusted my head. The clippers hummed to life. The first glide down the back of my head sent a shockwave through me, not from the haircut, but from being touched by Reed after all these years. "So," he said casually, "your fiancée, what's she like?" "Kind, proper, from a wealthy family, a good match on paper." "She's fine," I murmured. He paused. "Fine, just we don't laugh much." I tried to shrug, but his hands steadied my chin again. "We're compatible, efficient. We have the same goals." "And Joy?" he asked. The clippers stopped. The silence rang loud. His eyes met mine in the mirror, warm, searching. I cleared my throat. "We don't really talk about feelings." He gave a tiny nod, returning to the haircut. But something in the air shifted. Reed didn't know, couldn't know that I used to dream about him brushing hair off my neck like this. That back in university, I used to memorize the shape of his smile. And now he was here, inches from me, smelling like cedar and something dangerous. When he finished, he blew off loose hair from my neck and spun the chair to face the mirror. "What do you think?" he asked. I stared at my reflection, sharp jawline, clean fade. I looked like someone who had his life figured out, but inside everything was cracking. "It's perfect," I whispered. Reed smiled slow like he already knew. This haircut was not the only thing that changed today. As I paid at the counter, he walked me to the door. "Come back anytime," he said. "Hair grows fast." "Yeah." My voice was quiet. "I know." But what I didn't say was, "It's not my hair I'm worried about growing. It's the feelings." I told myself it was just a haircut, just a simple maintenance trim, nothing more. But a week later, I was standing outside the boutique again, hand hovering over the door handle like I was about to confess a crime instead of getting my hair touched up. My heart was pounding. Ridiculous. This was just Reed, just a barber, just an old uni friend. Then why did my palms sweat like I was 17 again? I pushed the door open. The bell above it chimed, and the scent of bergamot and cedar washed over me like déjà vu. Reed placed shaving cream bottles on the shelf, his tank top revealing the tattoos on his forearms, geometric lines, and small symbols. I ache. He lifted his head, and when he saw me, his entire face lit up. "Troy." He smiled, walking toward me. "Wow, back already?" I swallowed. "Yeah, my hair grew." He raised an eyebrow. "In 7 days, I have fast hair." I lied horribly. He laughed, that low, warm sound that stirred something inside me I had tried to bury for years. "All right," he said playfully, skeptical. "Get in the chair." I walked over, pretending I didn't notice how his eyes followed me, how deliberate his movements were as he draped the black cape over me, how his fingers brushed the back of my neck as he snapped it closed behind me. "So?" he said casually, lightly wetting my hair with a spray bottle. "How's the wedding prep going?" I exhaled slowly. "Busy, stressful, and exciting," he asked. I hesitated. That too." He didn't push, but the silence that followed wasn't awkward. It felt heavy, real. The clippers buzzed to life. He stood behind me, one hand gently tilting my head the way he wanted. "Chin up," he murmured. His fingers were warm, steady. The moment he touched me, I forgot how to breathe. He worked slowly, shaping the fade with precise movements. I watched his reflection in the mirror, the concentration in his eyes, the slight furrow in his brow. He was so close I could smell his cologne. Woodsy, clean, alive. So I said, trying to sound normal, "You're really happy here with the shop?" He nodded. "Yeah, this place saved me. Cutting hair, talking with people. It feels real. Every day is different." "That's nice," I said quietly. "Being able to choose your own life." He paused, then rested his hands lightly on my shoulders. "You could choose yours too." I froze, not physically because his hands were still at my shoulders, steadying me, but inside, my voice cracked. It's not that simple. He leaned closer, voice lower. It can be. He moved around me, switching sides. His tattooed hand tilted my chin again. Look up. His thumb brushed my jaw as he angled my head. It was nothing, an innocent gesture, but heat shot through me. My chest tightened, my stomach twisted. My thoughts screamed, don't fall for him, don't do this. But I already knew it was too late. Remember in uni? Reed said, lips curved in a soft smile when people called us the cool kids. I laughed. We were just good at pretending we had everything together. He chuckled knowingly. You especially. You were always so put together, confident. I swallowed. You thought I was confident? He nodded slowly. I admired you, Troy. The clippers stopped. Admired. The word echoed in my chest like a drum. He switched to scissors, stepping even closer to trim the front. His fingers slid into my hair, guiding it gently. His knee brushed mine just for a second, and I jolted, like I'd been shocked. You okay? He asked softly. Yeah, I whispered. Just ticklish lie. Every touch felt like remembering something I never actually had. He smiled. You're different when you're here. What do you mean? You laugh, he said simply. A lot. I blinked. I hadn't realized it, but he was right. With him, I wasn't rehearsing wedding budgets or nodding politely at dinner plans with my fiancé's family. I wasn't performing. I was breathing. When he finished, he brushed stray hairs from my neck with a soft towel. His touch lingered too gentle, too intentional, and my heart thudded against my ribs. He spun the chair toward the mirror. There, he murmured, fresh and handsome. Again, I looked at my reflection. I looked like myself. Not the version my fiancée wanted me to be. Not the version her family evaluated like a resume. Me. Reed removed the cape slowly, fingertips grazing my neck. I felt that touch everywhere. I stood, but my legs were unsteady. How much do I owe you? He waved a hand. It's on the house. I frowned. No, I insist. Troy, he said, voice low. Some people are worth doing favors for. The air shifted. We were inches apart. I forced a smile, trying to hide the fact that his words went straight to the hollow part of my chest. I'll see you soon, I said. He smirked. Hair grows fast. I walked out, letting the chime of the door mask my racing heartbeat. Once outside, I leaned against my car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly, my knuckles turned white. I was in trouble. I was engaged. I had a life planned, a future that made sense, a marriage that was expected. But my heart, it was already sitting in Reed's hands. The day after the haircut, I woke up thinking about him, not my fiancé. Him, Reed. I tried to push it down. I tried to be rational. I tried to be engaged, mentally, emotionally, physically, to the life that everyone insisted should make sense. But every time I closed my eyes, all I saw were his hands in my hair, the warmth in his voice, the way he said my name, like it meant something. By noon, I was pacing in my living room. Just fix the suit, I told myself. It's practical, logical, normal. I needed an excuse, any excuse. The boutique wasn't even on the way to anything. Yet somehow, 20 minutes later, I was there standing in front of the building again, pretending I wasn't addicted to the feeling of being seen by him. I pulled the door open. Reed was behind the counter, notebook in hand, scribbling measurements. He glanced up, did a double take, then smiled, slow and familiar. Well, hair still growing fast. I ignored the teasing and lifted the garment bag I was holding. My suit, I said. I think it needs a little adjustment. I sounded ridiculous. No groom needed suit adjustments the day after fitting. Reed didn't question it. He just nodded and motioned toward the private tailoring room at the back. Come with me. We entered a smaller space, soft lighting, huge mirror, the smell of freshly steamed fabric lingering in the air. I stepped onto the platform and slipped into the suit jacket. Reed stood behind me, eyes scanning me through the mirror. Lift your arms, he said, voice low. I lifted them. He slid the measuring tape across my shoulders, then down my side, stopping just above my waistline. His fingers brushed my shirt. My breath hitched. Then he moved to the front. Closer this time, measuring the distance between buttons. His hands skimmed the fabric, my chest underneath it. "Feels a little tight here," he murmured more to himself than to me. "Tight? Yeah, that was one word for it." I looked at him through the mirror. His face was inches from mine, focused, lips slightly parted in concentration. He moved with purpose, with skill, but there was a softness in his touch that felt like something intimate. "Are you happy?" he asked suddenly. The question hit me so abruptly that I blinked. "What?" He kept his hands on the suit jacket, adjusting the lapel. "Are you happy with the wedding?" My chest nodded. My pulse stopped. I swallowed. "Why are you asking?" He met my eyes in the mirror. "Because every time I ask how you feel, you talk about what you need to do, not what you want." Silence. Thick, swallowing, suffocating silence. I stared at our reflections, his hands on my chest, mine tense at my sides. "My fiancé's family is complicated," I finally said. "Her father runs the real estate company I work for. She's expected to marry someone reliable, someone who will take over eventually." "So, the marriage is a business plan," Reed said quietly. "It's stability," I corrected. "For who?" he challenged. "For them? Or for you?" The edges of my vision narrowed. Something inside me felt like it was shifting, cracking. I exhaled long and shaky. "Her father doesn't really like me. He makes comments about my background, my salary, my future." I forced a laugh, humorless. "He once told me I should be grateful his daughter chose someone mediocre." Reed froze. "You're not mediocre," he whispered. I tried to shrug it off. "I want financial security. My parents struggled their whole lives." "I don't want that fate in love," Reed asked. "Is that part of your plan?" His voice soft, fearless. My throat burned. "My fiancé and I." I searched for the right words. "We don't connect like that." Reed stepped closer. So close, I felt the heat from his body. "Do you love her?" he asked, barely more than a whisper. I hesitated, and that hesitation said everything. He didn't move, didn't fill the space with empty comfort. He just held my gaze in the mirror, unblinking, raw. Reed exhaled slowly, stepping around to face me directly. He adjusted the suit jacket gently, fingers lingering near the collarbone. "For what it's worth," he said quietly. "You deserve a life that feels like yours." My eyes stung. "It's not that simple," I whispered. He smiled, but it wasn't happy. It was sad. Knowing. "Maybe you're right," he said. "Maybe I'm speaking like someone who chose passion over security, but happiness matters. Someone should remind you of that." I felt the weight of those words settle inside me. I stood there, pressed between who I was taught to be and who I secretly wanted to become. Finally, I looked at him. Really looked at him and said the words I'd never said out loud. "I'm scared that if I don't get married, I'll lose everything I've built." Reed stopped measuring and placed the tape gently on the table. "What if losing this?" He touched the lapel, the suit, the plan, the expectation, frees you instead. We stood in silence, breathing the same air, everything unspoken, filling the space. He stepped back. "The suit fits fine. You didn't come here for tailoring." I swallowed. What did I come for? He met my eyes. "Me?" The words stole the ground beneath me. He didn't say it arrogantly. He said it gently as someone who could finally see through me, through the lies I told everyone, including myself. My heart thudded painfully. He walked me to the door slowly. His voice was soft, almost a whisper. "If your heart ever needs a place to rest," he said, "you know where to find me." I stood outside, unable to move. He didn't touch me. He didn't have to. He had already touched the part of me I spent years pretending didn't exist. 2 weeks before my wedding, I broke. I drove to the boutique without thinking. No plan, no lie to tell, no excuse rehearsed in my head. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard they ached. My heart felt like a fist inside my chest. Every mile closer to the shop, the truth pressed harder against my ribs. I didn't want the wedding. I wanted him. The sky was already dark when I parked. The shop lights were still on, warm against the night. Through the glass, I saw Reed sweeping hair from the floor. He looked calm, steady, like the world didn't churn with chaos the way mine did. I stepped inside. He looked up immediately. His expression shifted surprise, concern, something deeper. "Troy," he said, setting the broom down. "Hey, are you okay?" "No," I breathed. "I'm not." He walked closer slowly, like I was something fragile. "What's wrong?" I swallowed hard. My voice trembled. I don't know how to breathe anymore. Reed's jaw tightened. "Tell me." I exhaled shakily and forced out what I came here to say. "I think about you all the time," I said. "In meetings, in bed, when I should be thinking about the wedding." He blinked, stunned. "I can't stop thinking about your hands," I continued, the words pouring out like a confession. "The way you smell, the way you laugh, the way I actually feel alive in this shop." Reed didn't speak. He just listened, eyes soft and hurting. "I've been pretending for so long," I whispered. "Pretending I'm straight, pretending I'm excited, pretending I'm not dying inside." He took one step closer. "Troy, my fiancée wants a husband who fits into her family's future," I said. "Her father wants a business partnership, not a marriage." "And what do you want?" Reed asked gently. My voice cracked. "You." Silence. Holy, shattering silence. "I like men," I said. "I always have since university. Since you." Reed's breath hitched. I pretended to be straight because I thought that was the only way to survive. I whispered. "I thought marrying her would give me stability, money, a future." He shook his head, pain flickering in his eyes. "At the cost of losing yourself?" "Yes," I admitted. "But then I found you again, and everything changed." Reed swallowed, stepping even closer until we were inches apart. "What are you saying, Troy?" "I can't marry her," I breathed. Reed stared at me, searching my face, his voice barely a whisper. "You're sure?" "For the first time in my life," I said. "I'm completely sure." Something shifted in his eyes. Relief, disbelief, longing. I reached up and touched his cheek. He didn't move away. "I'm tired of lying," I said. "I'm tired of choosing fear." Reed gently took my hand, holding it like it was something breakable. "You don't have to be brave all at once," he whispered. "Just be honest." My heart broke open. And then finally, inevitably, we kissed. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't needy. It wasn't lust. It was truth. Soft, slow, certain. His lips moved against mine like a promise I'd waited years to hear. When we pulled apart, our foreheads rested together. I was shaking. "I'll tell her," I whispered. "Tomorrow." Reed closed his eyes, voice ragged. "I don't want to be your escape," he said. "I want to be your choice." I squeezed his hand. "You already are." The next morning felt colder than it should have. I stood in front of my fiancée's apartment door, the same polished wood I had walked through dozens of times. But today, my hands were shaking. Not from fear of her reaction, but from fear of betraying myself if I didn't do this. I knocked. She opened the door, holding a cup of coffee. She smiled briefly, the polite kind she reserved for board members and photographers. "Troy, you're early." "I need to talk to you," I said, voiced dry. She let me in, guiding me toward the living room. Her father sat at the dining table reading stock reports on an iPad. He barely acknowledged me. He usually didn't. "What's going on?" she asked, sitting across from me. My heart hammered, but I forced myself to meet her eyes. "I can't marry you." She blinked. Confusion flickered across her face, not heartbreak. "What are you talking about? The wedding is in 2 weeks." "I know," I whispered, "and I should have said something sooner." Her father looked up now, his eyes sharpened. "Is this about the prenup? If you're trying to negotiate—" "No," I said sharply. "This isn't about money," he scoffed. "Everything is about money." I turned back to her. My breath came out unsteady. "I've been lying," I said. "To you. To myself. I thought I could force myself to be someone I'm not. I thought that marrying you would make life easier. She set her coffee down slowly. What are you saying, Troy? I swallowed. I like men. Silence swallowed the room. Her father stood up abruptly, anger rising in his face. This is ridiculous. She lifted her hand, stopping him. Her eyes stayed steady on me. You're gay? I nodded. I think I've always known. I just didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to disappoint anyone. Her expression softened, the first real softness I'd seen from her in months. She leaned back on the couch, closing her eyes. I think, she whispered, I've known too. My breath caught. You never touched me with love, she continued. You touched me with obligation. Something inside me broke. Her father, however, looked relieved. Actually relieved. Good, he muttered. This wedding was a mistake from the beginning. She exhaled a shaky laugh at her father's lack of sentiment. Well, at least one man is happy about this. Tears stung my eyes. I'm sorry. She shook her head. Don't be sorry for choosing to be yourself. If anything, I'm sorry we both tried so hard to force something we couldn't feel. My friend used to tell me you were gay. I pretended not to hear it, but deep down, I knew I felt something every time I was with you. I just wasn't ready to understand it. Now I see that. I should have listened. She stood and walked toward me. For the first time, she hugged me not as fiancé, but as two people finally letting each other go. Go be happy, she whispered against my shoulder, with whoever he is. Her father opened the door behind me, impatient but satisfied. We'll have the wedding candle by this afternoon. You're free to go. Free. I walked out with tears in my eyes. Night settled by the time I reached the boutique. The lights were still on. Inside, Reed was sweeping again. He always swept at closing time, and for a moment, I watched him from the doorway, letting the reality settle. I didn't choose a future. I chose myself. I stepped inside. Reed looked up. His eyes widened when he saw me red-eyed, breathless, raw. You told her? He whispered. Yeah. And she let me go. He set the broom aside and walked toward me slowly, like if he moved too fast, I might break. What now? He murmured. Closed the distance between us, placed my hands on his chest, felt the steady beat of his heart. Now, I said, voice shaking, I get to choose what makes me happy. Reed's eyes softened, full of disbelief, and something deeper. And what did you choose? You, I breathed. He pulled me into his arms. No hesitation, no fear, and I felt every wall I had built my entire life collapse in a single embrace. We held each other in the quiet shop, surrounded by unfinished suits and the faint scent of cedar and cologne. This wasn't a wedding. It was a beginning. So, thanks for watching.